8:45 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news, edited by Lakshman Fonseca and read by Mario Vijayavardhana. The headlines. The President says the government's policy is to grant equal rights for all ethnic and religious groups. The China Development Bank is expected to visit Sri Lanka this week to continue with debt restructuring discussions. Air rifles for the farmers to ward off monkeys and giant squirrels from damaging crops. The Sri Lanka Navy has intercepted a local multi-day fishing trawler with over 212 kilograms of heroin and ice drugs. Major online firms have united to fight fake reviews. President Ranil Wickremesinghe says the government's policy is to grant equal rights for all ethnic and religious groups. He said that he is fully committed to establish peace in the Gaza Strip and supporting the UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres' efforts to establish peace in the war-torn Gaza Strip. The President made these remarks participating in the Milad-un-Nabi National Festival held in Musali, the national school in Mannar. Addressing the gathering, the President said that the government has launched many development schemes in the district of Mannar. He added the government has also launched several rehabilitation projects to provide houses for the people who have lost their lodgings during the wartime. President Ranil Wickremesinghe announced plans to develop the country's electricity system with India in the future, focusing on the Mannar district. He made these comments during his address at the National Milad-un-Nabi event held at the Mannar Musali National School Stadium this morning. He also said by 2030, the entire Mannar economic activity will be open directly to the other regions through the boosting of the development of the fisheries, tourism and energy sectors through the utilization of resources. By means of a future sustainable economic development plan, Mannar will be completely dependent on fisheries and renewable energy sources, the President said. Officials from the China Development Bank (CDB) are expected to visit Sri Lanka this week to continue with debt restructuring discussions with officials from Sri Lanka's Finance Ministry. It is reported that while the government had reached a preliminary agreement on the debt restructuring framework with China's Export-Import Exim Bank, the other key Chinese financial institutions, the CDB, is also to expedite its discussions with Sri Lanka in this regard. The source further noted that the Chinese government had now officially expressed commitment to Sri Lanka's debt restructuring program and would therefore reach the final stages in the debt treatment in the coming weeks. The Ministry of Agriculture has taken measures to issue air rifles to farmers to ward off monkeys and giant squirrels from damaging crops. The project, initiated in Angurukala Palace this morning, saw the Agriculture Minister Mahinda Amarveera stating that this decision was taken drawing from requests made by farmers to protect their crops from the monkeys. The minister said the monkeys have learned to penetrate the coconut husk using their long teeth to reach the sweet water of the coconut and damage all other crops too. As the first stage of the program, 268 air rifles have been issued to the farmers today. At the function, the farmers said the monkeys are very clever and are causing numerous damages to all the crops. They said the monkeys, being a playful animal, it literally hangs around under the canopy of the coconut tree, damaging the tender leaves, flowers and young coconuts, depleting the harvest of this prized crop. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Cherished companion of microfinance banking, Samurdhi Community Bank.
The Sri Lanka Navy has intercepted a local multi-day fishing trawler with over 212 kilograms of heroin and ice drugs valued at over 4,000 million rupees concealed inside. It was trapped in the high seas west of Galle, Sri Lanka, the Navy said. The operation has been carried out based on information derived from a coordinated intelligence operation conducted by the Sri Lanka Navy and the Police Narcotics Bureau, and it was carried out by the Sri Lanka Coast Guard Samudra-Raksha PNB. The Navy said, following the suspicious local multi-day fishing trawler being escorted to the Dondra Fisheries Harbour, the careful search with the Sri Lanka Coast Guard led to the recovery of 160 packages of heroin weighing about 180 kilograms and 800 grams, as well as 28 parcels of ice weighing around 31 kilos and 550 grams contained in 12 sacks this morning. The special operation, mounted about 168 kilometers off the west of Galle, has also led to the apprehension of 5 suspects aboard. The commander of the Navy, Vice Admiral Priyantha Pereira, arrived at the Dondra Fisheries Harbour this morning to personally inspect the sea's consignment of narcotics. Meanwhile, the street value of the sea's consignment of drugs weighing around 212 kilos and 350 grams held in this operation is believed to be over 4,000 million rupees.
Your closest ally in microfinance banking. The front runner in uplifting low-income households, extending a hand to those aspiring to thrive. Your very own financial institution, Samurdhi Community Bank, with a presence of 1,089 branches throughout the island. Your closest ally in microfinance banking. Your steadfast financial partner, Samurdhi Community Bank.
The main news story is brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
Minister Prasanna Ranavira says changing policy planning with the election of new governments negatively affects the development of the country. He said the officials of the National Physical Plan should take prior approval from the District Development Committee for implementation of the National Physical Development Plans. The minister made these remarks at a meeting with the officials of the National Physical Development Planning Department held in Parliament. The minister also said that the plan is in alignment with the President's vision for the country's development by 2048.
The main news story was brought to you by Sinhala Mahatmya.
And now in Watchlight, the number of dengue cases in several areas of the Western Province and in the Kandy district of the Central Province has increased. The National Dengue Control Unit says most of the breeding grounds for mosquitoes have been identified around the schools and religious places in many areas. The Director of the National Dengue Control Unit, Dr. Nalin Aryaratna, said 66,652 dengue cases have been reported in Sri Lanka so far this year. That came to you in Watchlight. In World News Headlines. The UN pleas 20 humanitarian aid trucks are entering Gaza. Japan has called for internationally concerted efforts to halt the worsening humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip. Major online firms have united to fight fake reviews. Aid supplies have arrived in the Gaza Strip, where people are suffering acute water and food shortages amid the fighting between Israel and the Islamic group Hamas. But concerns are growing that the humanitarian crisis could worsen, as Israeli military officials have suggested a ground offensive of Gaza is close at hand. A convoy of 20 trucks entered Gaza from Egypt on Saturday. Officials in Gaza released a statement saying that a limited number of aid trucks cannot alleviate the humanitarian crisis there. The United Nations officials say 100 truckloads of supplies are needed each day to help the people in Gaza. Martin Griffiths, the Undersecretary responsible for Office of the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, told the Reuters news agency that as negotiations continue, he heard that another 20 to 30 trucks might enter Gaza on Sunday. The dire situation presents serious challenges over how sufficient amounts of supplies can be brought in and distributed among residents of Gaza amid a worsening humanitarian crisis. Japan's foreign minister has called for internationally concerted efforts to halt the worsening humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip. Kamikawa Yoko is among officials from about 30 countries, territories and international organizations taking part in the Cairo Peace Summit hosted by Egypt. Kamikawa told the conference that the priority is to minimize the deterioration of conditions in Gaza. She said the bottom line for conference participants is to deliver needed supplies to the people of Gaza as soon as possible and to evacuate foreigners there to Egypt. She also announced the Japanese government's plans to provide emergency humanitarian aid worth $10 million to Gaza residents. She said Japan is also considering further assistance to the region as needed. Kamikawa called on her colleagues to gather strength and wisdom to secure the safety of the people in Gaza and ease the situation as soon as possible to bring about sustainable peace and stability in the region. Major online firms including Amazon, Booking.com, Expedia and TripAdvisor have united to fight fake reviews. The group, which also includes workplace review site Glassdoor and review platform Trustpilot, will share information on deterring fraudsters. It follows concern that chatbot-like AI systems are being used to write bogus online reviews for profit. Fake reviews can damage a company's reputation and lead consumers to buy poor value products and services. A recent government report found that bogus reviews of products alone could cost UK consumers around £312 million each year. Up to 15% of all reviews on e-commerce platforms in 3 common product categories, including consumer electronics, home and kitchen and sports and outdoors, were probably fake, it said. The government plans to use the new Digital Markets, Competition and Consumer Bill currently going through Parliament to combat buying, selling or hosting fake reviews. In the US, the Federal Trade Commission is proposing similar action. And now the main points of the world news segment once again. UN pleased, 20 humanitarian aid trucks are entering Gaza. Japan has called for internationally concerted efforts to halt the worsening humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip. Major online firms have united to fight fake reviews.
Development News.
Steps will be taken to streamline trade with China's Yunnan province and Sri Lanka. A bilateral discussion in this regard was held at the Temple Trees with the participation of the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce in the Yunnan province and the Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena recently. The Prime Minister said the government is planning to boost trade in industries such as logistics and cross-border e-commerce with China's Yunnan province. He said the partnership will highlight the willingness of both governments and the private sector in Thailand and Yunnan to collaborate and enhance economic development.
Sports News is brought to you by Shakti. Refresh your mind and body with Shakti Energy Drink. 350 rupees only. Available at island-wide leading groceries and supermarkets. Shakti. Taste the power.
In badminton news, the Northern Province prepares to host the prestigious Northern Province All-Island Open Badminton Championship. The Northern Province Badminton Association called shuttlers from across the nation are now invited to showcase their talent at the highly anticipated competition. The Northern Province Badminton Association is affiliated with Sri Lanka Badminton and said that the tournament is classified as a Level 1 national ranking event, and it will be played from the 31st of October to November 5th at the Northern Province Indoor Badminton Sports Complex in Kilinochchi. The organisers said applications are currently open and will close on the 25th of October, offering badminton enthusiasts a unique opportunity to shine in the national spotlight. They said applications are called for the junior category, encompassing under 11, 13, 15, 17 and 19 years for boys and girls singles and doubles events.
Shakti. Refresh your mind and body with Shakti Energy Drink. 350 rupees only. Available at island-wide leading groceries and supermarkets. Shakti. Taste the power.
Go ekak thiyana youth eකට life ekේ change eකට niyamata set wenna as wahagena dagapu hina habe karanna youth eකට niyamata set wenna friendship එක menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Cleantech Private Limited has announced the opening of their new e-waste and recyclables collection centre at Sampath Piasa in Rajagiriya. The company is one of the foremost providers of integrated waste management solutions in Sri Lanka. The company said the centre will collect electronic e-waste and recyclables, providing a convenient and environmentally responsible disposable solution for residents and businesses in the area. The collection centre was recently opened with the participation of the Commissioner of the Sri Jayawardhanapura Kotte Municipal Council and representatives from the Ministry of Environment. Additionally, representatives from the Western Province Waste Management Authority, the Central Environmental Authority and Cleantech Private Limited joined the event.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak thiyana youth ekata life ekේ change ekata niyameta set wenna as wahagena dakapu hina habe karanna youth ekata niyameta set wenna friendship එක menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
Minister Prasanna Ranavira says changing policy plans with the election of new governments negatively affects the development of the country. He said officials of the National Physical Plan should take prior approval from the District Development Committee for implementing the National Physical Development Plan. The minister made these remarks at a meeting with the officials of the National Physical Development Planning Department held in Parliament. The minister also said that the plan is in alignment with the President's vision for the country's development by 2048.
Weather report.
The Met Department has issued separate amber level weather advisories for severe lightning and heavy rains in several provinces, as well as for strong winds and rough seas to be in effect until 11:30 p.m. today. The department said thunder showers accompanied by severe lightning is likely to occur at several places in the central, Sabaragamu North Central, Eastern and Uva provinces. According to the department, there may be temporary localized strong winds during the thunder showers. The general public is kindly requested to take adequate precautions to minimize damages caused by lightning activity. It also said the atmospheric conditions are favourable for thunderstorms at most of the places over the island during the evening and night. Heavy showers above 100 millimetres are likely at some places in the central, Sabaragamu, Uva and eastern provinces. That was the report, and that concludes this news broadcast. You're with Radio Sri Lanka.